Well, good morning. I'm Jim Moore, and you are watching Justice for America. It is February 14th, 2025, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Hope you have someone in your life, anybody, that you can tell them that you love them today and that you care about them. Yeah, make it a day of love. I was just telling some other people, don't go into all the negativity stuff today. Just tell somebody you love them. Let them feel love today, especially those that may not feel love. So that's my Valentine's Day greeting. So this is episode number 120. This program, Justice for America, is not so much like the words of encouragement that we do, where we talk about scripture and how you can develop a life with God. This is about knowing what's going on in the world so that you can articulate with friends and neighbors, not in a fighting spirit, but just informed. And you can even use the things that are going on in the world to talk about the Lord. So I'm a preacher. That's what I do. So some of you might want to turn it off right now. Okay, that happens a lot to me. It's okay. My goal is to tell you the truth and to help you be a little bit informed. There's lots of that out there. So anyway, episode number 120, we're going to talk about three things. ELON the HATCHET man. I made that up myself. And then $59 billion that was given by FEMA after they weren't supposed to, after it was not legal to do so. We'll talk about that. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about the 100 million robots destined to be on the earth shortly. So take a minute to like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and share. Vitally important that you do those things. If you're watching on YouTube, we're just like 20 people away from subscription. So you could help us get to that 500 subscription mark. It would be very helpful. And if you've already subscribed, really the only way you can do that is by sharing this with somebody else and saying, hey, would you please subscribe to the channel? It'll help Jim and Linda. All right. So I'm going to start out by giving you something that's a little bit my opinion about something. I believe it's the right one. Of course, I wouldn't tell you a wrong opinion. That would be dumb, okay? But here's what I believe to be true, and I'm hoping it's what God sees too. Let me read it to you. People, let me say this, especially Christians, because I'm a minister, and so a lot of my friends are Christians. I'm talking to you. So let's just say Christians who still feel like they're not supposed to have anything to do with leadership or policy making of the country. I'm talking about policy is where we get the politics. It comes from the word policy making. It's a policy. It means you're making laws. Okay. If tomorrow somebody come out and said, hey, let's make a law that it's okay to kill everybody on December 1st, of every year, you would, if you had any brains in your head, you'd come against that, right? Because so everybody cares about policy, i.e. laws, rules, whatever you want to call them, it doesn't matter, at some level. Okay, but we've kind of been conditioned to stay out of this stuff. Anyway, let me finish here. It says that Christians who still feel like they're not supposed to have anything to do with leadership or making policy, making laws in the world, in the country, I guarantee you are the same ones who do not pray about leadership or policy making like the Bible commands them to do. Okay, can I summarize and say that real quick? Hey, Steve. The people that don't believe they're supposed to have anything to do with politics or government are the ones who never pray for the government. Because when you pray about something, and God actually commanded us to pray about those who are in authority, i.e. leadership, okay? I don't know how we get around that, but if you never pray for it, you can tend to feel like it's not your bit. You don't have, I'm not called to that, all the different excuses we give ourselves, when really it's simply about not joining with the heart of God. God wouldn't have said to pray for the country and pray for leaders. Okay, all those who are in authority, he said everybody from the king, the president, all the way down, he said pray for all of them. Why? Because he cares about it. Now, just because we don't care about it doesn't mean that God doesn't care about it. You got to understand. All right, so we're going to talk about some of these things that are happening right now. Actually, a lot of things, a lot of really good things. Now, for the last couple of years, most of the time when I came on this program, I, by necessity, hi Heather, had to talk about bad things that were happening. Not to be a doomsdayer, not to be a, a negative Nancy or a Bobby Bummer. We always say that the girls, Debbie Downer. We need a name for the boys, a Bobby Bummer. Okay, not to be that, but to simply know how we ought to pray, and to be able to intelligently converse with our friends and neighbors. Now that has shifted to the extreme. There has been a hard right turn taken in the government. Now, if you're never concerned about how bad things were getting, and believe me when I tell you we were going off a cliff, that is not an exaggeration. You may not know, you may not understand, you may not have all the information, but I promise you, we were about to go off a cliff. God intervened through the prayers of millions of people, and we have now made a hard shift to the right, and that is just the truth. Now, if you never if you never were grieved about the evil that was happening, you won't be excited now about the good that's happening. Because regardless, now listen, don't make it about people. You say, well, Jim, it is about people. It is. People carry out their duties. People carry out commissions. Now we're talking today, not so much about ministerial or spiritual commissions, being commissioned by God to do spiritual things, but natural, social things that have to do with social structure and laws that should be, just and so on. Those people that carry out those things, those laws and so on, they have to be good people. Okay? I mean, this is like the biggest duh in the world. If they're bad people, they're going to make bad rules, and they're going to carry out the bad rules they make, and they might wind up doing corrupt things, self-centered things, things that get them benefit like money and so on, and who cares about the rest of the world? So it does matter about people, okay? But it's also about policy. So don't make what's happening about just a person. Let's look at what's happening as far as policy goes and embrace that. All right, let me start out. So I've got two videos today that I would call must-sees, okay? So number one must-see is by a lady. Well, what it is actually is you see all these committee meetings they have and caucus meetings and, blah, 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 whatever, governmental meeting. This person's name is Joni Ernst. You maybe never seen her before. I'm telling you, she's a brilliant woman, very intelligent, very articulate, very spot on. Okay, I'm just going to give my thumbs up as much as I know about her. So I'm going to tell you today that transparency is coming. This is one of the best in the last couple of weeks I've seen, because Joni lays it out, and a couple other people in addition to her lay some things out, very, very important, okay? So I'm going to call this Transparency is Coming. This is link number one. I think I only got 5 today. Caucus Chair Joni Ernst very clearly articulated the issues that are happening right now with USAID and the corruption that has been being exposed. Listen to me now. This is not new. It may be new to you or to me because we haven't been paying that close of attention, or because it's been hidden. Okay, both can be true. Okay, don't beat yourself up, but it's time to listen. Okay, these things have been going on for years. Years. People like Rand Paul, I could list a number of them, who for decades have been trying to get the American public. You see, typically what happens, I'm not going to wax philosophical here. Yeah, thank you, Christy. Go ahead and talk to each other. Let's wake up these algorithms. These things that have been going on for years, the way it works in policymaking, in governing the body of people in this country is like this. Until enough of a stink is made about something that politicians, it gets their attention. If their constituents are not making enough noise about it, they won't do anything, okay? In many cases, not every case, you understand. Thank you, Isaiah. So what I'm telling you is this is not new. It's just new to us and most of us. It is blown up to a place where, think about this, multitudes, millions of people are saying enough of this, enough of the fraud, enough of the kickbacks, enough of the money laundering, enough of the corrupt politicians, enough, enough, enough. And now, if people don't act upon their constituents' will and the squeaky wheel, okay, they could lose their job. I'm going to just say something real here, and I don't want to get on a soapbox. Wouldn't it be great if all of our politicians, all of our rules that we make it, and I'm sorry, we're not going to live without rules until we enter the kingdom of heaven. Now, that's just a fact. If you want to argue with me about it, not right now, but later on, I'll take up the argument with you. It's true. We are a nation of laws. Our founders made it that way. It's always going to be that way until the Lord comes. Okay. All right. There's no policeman in heaven. Just saying. Anyway, so wouldn't it be great if people, listen to me now, lawmakers, representatives that we elected, first of all, it'd be great if they were all elected, not just appointed, bureaucrats, but wouldn't it be great if every one of them did what they did and made their decisions and created their laws, listen now, because of what was morally right instead of what benefited them or even us, you and me, financially. Here's what I'm saying. Most decisions are made because of money, plain and simple, or power. But I think Jesus was right. Big shocker. Okay. Hi, Clark. Nice to see you. Most decisions in the halls of government, or at least many, I would say most, I would say over 50% easily, are made because of finances. Okay. Now that is true. All right. There are ways to cure that, but that's another subject. Okay. So transparency is coming. Watch this one. If you can only watch a couple, watch these first two. The first one is Joni Ernst going through and just declaring some things that have been going on for a long time and asking, why haven't we done anything up until now? There's two questions. Number one, how did we get here? And number two, why haven't we done anything about this? And listen to me now. Some very, very good people haven't done anything about it, not just the bad ones. Hey, Clark. Hey, Catherine. Nice to have you. All right. So that's number one. You're going to want to watch that one. For those of you who might be new to the program, I describe a few links that we have on here because I don't have time to stick them all in here. These are kind of, links that I picked out. I mean, there's a lot going on. JFK Jr. just got put into office, right? He just got sworn in. I watched that last night. Yes. I'm telling you, there are going to be some radical change. There's already radical changes happening. That's going to get way, way more intense. Okay. And there's going to still be an uphill climb. But yeah. So just fasten your seatbelts. You're going to hear people who are just they're just pro party. I'm on this side. And so I'm just going to argue that my side is better. There's really no evidence they bring forth. They just give accusation without evidence and character assassination. One of the tricks of the enemy is if he can't point, listen now, to the rightness or the wrongness of his position, okay, he just character assassinates the other side. This is what's happening to Elon Musk right now. Come on, talk it up, you guys. Elon Musk was, like Donald Trump, the darling of the world. All the left, they all loved Elon Musk. All of them. Just like Donald Trump. Donald Trump, before he ran president, was the beloved of all of Hollywood, all of the politicians. Everybody loved him. Why? Well, primarily because he had money. But regardless, now Elon is going through exactly what Donald Trump, as soon as he made a stand for what was RIGHT. It's not about Republicans. It's not about Democrats. It's about what's right. Okay? Sometimes Republicans are right or not. Sometimes Democrats are right or not. Sometimes up here, the balance, you get what I'm saying? Come on, be smart, okay? Things swing, things change. There was a time the Democratic Party was, they were pretty decent in some ways. Okay, now I don't want to get into that. But you get what I'm saying. Don't fall into the trap where it's all about Elon Musk, because it's not. If it were not Elon Musk doing what he's doing, it would be someone else. I promise you that is true. Okay? So it's not about him. It's not about Donald Trump. The United States of America has finally awakened to the depth of corruption that you can't even imagine. I can't even tell you some of the stuff that I know that you wouldn't believe it. Okay? But America, thank you, Jesus, has awakened to what's happening. It is a gift from God, I'm telling you. So, immediately, as soon as we awaken to this, people start, picking at Donald, picking at Elon. Listen, I'm going to say this. I've said this every one of these justice programs, probably the last 4 or 5. Any of these men can start out good and go bad. Or they can start out bad and go good. You must look at what they're doing. Now, if they have some sinister plan behind, show us the evidence. Because there's some Democratic guys who have come out recently, and I mean, they are throwing down on Elon, especially because now Elon's taking the heat off of Donald. And they're saying, that's kind of disrespectful, the president, excuse me. They're saying, oh, he's the evil guy now. He wants to steal Social Security money from little old ladies so he can get rich. Oh, my God. There's absolutely zero evidence. Like, show me the sheet of paper. I mean, there's nothing. And yet, when you have nothing else to stand on, you character assassinate the individual. Don't you fall? Do you know the Bible says Satan is the accuser of people, not the fact finder? It's one thing to have facts and say, hey, look, this guy, like USAID, this guy has stolen billions of dollars. He ought to be held accountable for that. Show me the receipt. Oh, it's right here on a piece of paper. Good, you're right. You're absolutely right. Accusation is, I have no proof, I have no evidence. It's just something I'm saying because I want the other person to look bad. You get what I'm saying? You got to be smarter. You got to understand human nature. You got to understand why people do what they do. All right. Second must see. I'm trying to move along here. This blew me away. I heard Elon say it. He said there is a mine, M-I-N-E, a limestone underground, 200 and some odd feet underground, a real mine, that is being used to house and store retirement applications. So some Social Security, I don't know exactly all the paperwork. Thanks, Heather. Are you listening to me? Now, you would think, actually, there are hundreds of these underground facilities. Here's the point in this. We are spending, the United States government, thank you, Isaiah, the United States government has spent billions with a B. Now, we throw around these big numbers. Now, I remember when $1 billion was like, oh, everybody was just like, oh, take a deep breath and their eyes get wide when you say the B word, Now, we treat that like the M word, millions. Okay, and we treat millions like the, thousands word. It's like it has become normal now to talk about billions and trillions. Okay, we're barely getting gasped by the trillions when it's mentioned. Okay, so it should be by now that we're not dealing in paperwork. We're spending billions of dollars funding other countries, some of them good things. Okay, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are some good things that USAID has done. Now, have they become so corrupt that they need to be completely dissolved? It's possible. Sometimes an entity gets so corrupt and so overburdened with itself. It's like a cancer that goes through the whole body of that institution. It does need to be taken down. There's no doubt about there are times that happens. We'll see if that's the case with USAID. But they have funded maybe to the tune of $1 trillion, funding things that are ridiculous. When you watch these videos, I read some off the other day, most of them have to do with woke agenda. I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, back to the caves. In the caves, it's 200 feet plus under the ground. It takes sometimes them 6 months to a year to get to someone's retirement application. Like I'm at retirement age, I would fill out an application. Guess where it goes? We're talking about a physical piece of paper that goes they show you the pictures in this video. Okay, they show you the actual place. Okay, it goes, they take it by hand to this, they put it on their little elevator, and now they're saying it's not really an elevator. Okay, that's the important issue. It's not an elevator. It's like a pull thing. Who cares? The point is it has to go 200 feet underground, and then it's stacked up, and then they have to get to them one by one. It is insanity that this is still happening. Insane. Okay? You talk about ineffective. I'm going to go another step further. It's not just ineffective, it's irresponsible. So at one point, they spent $100 million trying to upgrade this old 1950s paper system. And this is not the only entity that there are literally hundreds of these underground facilities, okay? There's a lot you don't know about, okay, that I don't know about. So they spent $100 million trying to upgrade this to make it functional in today's world, and they failed. Listen, I could do anything with $100 million. Can you imagine giving someone $100 million? Something that would save the lives of thousands, if not millions of people around the earth through feeding. And I mean, there's so many things. And then they fail. They don't even do it. Where did that money go? Okay, did they spend it at the Office Max, making more copies or buying a new computer or copy machine? What happened to it? I'll tell you what I believe. I think most of it winds up in the banks of some of the people that are in charge of these programs. You can't spend $100 million trying to upgrade a system and have nothing to show for it. You just can't. Anyway, you're going to want to watch that one. Oh, let me tell you one more thing about that one before I move on. Floppy disk. I wish I had one to hold up. How do you remember a floppy disk? Remember those? We had those when we first started having computers, where one PC, like I'm looking at right now, one laptop, would have been so large, physically large, it would have taken up a ginormous building. Okay. And that's when we had these 8-inch floppy disks. So, one floppy disk, it takes 3.2, are you listening now? Somebody say I'm listening. 3.2 million floppy disks to equal one flash drive. Let that sink in. Say, well, Jim, what does that matter? Because there is a part, I'm trying to remember who it was, some part of our military, you'll have to watch the video. Some part of our military, listen to me now, are still using floppy disks. You can't make this stuff up. The irresponsibility, the corruption, the money laundering. We spend trillions of dollars a year and have very little to show for it. I made the statement the other day. I'm going to say it again. I believe this is 100% accurate. If we cut off all of the foolish spending, and it's all coming to light, okay, because transparency is about to win the day. Mark it down. If we cut out all the craziness, all the LGBT, whatever, all the woke stuff, all of that that's going to other countries, and we cut that all off, and all the wasteful spending, listen to me, we'd have more than enough money to run the country and start paying down our $32 trillion debt. One of the problems is this. I want you to imagine something real quick, and I'll finish up here. Imagine every child's dream, right? Imagine if you had a money printing legal, I got to throw in legal. Imagine if you had a legal money printing machine in your basement. Woo! Everybody shout amen. If you had a legal, there is no such thing, but if you had a legal money printing machine in your basement, every time you needed money, you just went down. What do you think would have you print $100 off? Man, I need a new car. Well, honey, go down and print $30,000 and $100 bills off. Okay. Wouldn't it be great? Let me tell you what would happen. Be serious for a minute. If you had a money printing machine, pretty soon the value, hear me, listen close. The value of money in your mind and heart would so diminish that it wouldn't mean anything to you anymore. You wonder why? How these guys can spend hundreds of millions of dollars on foolish stuff? Because they do have a legal money printing machine. For real. That's not hyperbole. That's not prophetic. That's not, pretend. That's not metaphorical. It's real. They have real access to be able to print money. If you had that, you'd get very sloppy. And when you don't have much, and I know because I've lived this, when you don't have much, you're very careful about what you spend. But when you have it all, you begin to get sloppy and irresponsible. And that's where our government is. And that's what's got to change. And God willing, the people who are in power will do that. Oh, but Elon Musk is such a bad person. Don't be stupid. Don't fall for that. That's ridiculous. Come on. And again, I want to say, if it wasn't him, it would be someone else. Do you get that? Okay? If Elon was gone, let's say he passed away tomorrow, do you think really that whole system of trying to correct what has been incorrectable for years would suddenly just stop? No, it's not about him. Come on. All right. So the second one, the limestone one you want to watch. Now, I'm going to introduce someone to you. Now, I'm just hitting this stuff real lightly because I'm the guy that I want to know how we got here. I want to know how people got to the place where they could willy-nilly spend money. When an average American buys a home for, $300,000 to $500,000 and spends their whole life just trying to pay off, and these guys spend that much on vacations. Come on. It's got to stop. All right. I don't want to get all worked up here. Isaiah, thank you. Okay, I'm almost done. I got just a few more. I want to introduce an information gatherer to you that some of you may know from the program, some of you may not. I've gotten to really like him. I didn't really like the way he presented himself. No, RJ, no offense. But this program is called RJ, 2 letters, Robert John. I don't know if that's his name. I forgot to look up his name. RJ Talks, TALKS. It's right here in the description part of this program. You can look it up. RJ Talks. I've got 3 videos. They all kind of overlap a little bit, but each one gives a little information the other one didn't give. Okay? So you want to take the time to watch these. He does his programs anywhere from about 12 to 15-ish minutes. So he tries to stay in that, give him 15 minutes kind of a time frame, okay? So he's talking, he's very up to date and very factual. Now, he's always very stoic. I don't think I've only seen him smile maybe one time. So he hardly ever smiles. It's like, I'm a guy who smiles a lot. So anyway, so he's talking about this one link uncovering a lot of this fraud. Listen, only 1% of, as of a few days ago, only about 1% of what is available to look at. Okay, let me just say something. The Holy Spirit sometimes brings things to my mind. Here's an argument that you're going to hear. You need to be able to answer it. Elon and Trump are going to be able to, and the young people that he has, which are geniuses, by the way, working on all this stuff, they can see my social security number. They can see my phone number. They can. Okay. Let's not be foolish. I want to say moron, but I won't say moron. The IRS already knows all that. There are hundreds of people that have that information. Okay? Again, sometimes there is no real legitimate argument. We're just coming up with some in our head. Okay? Well, if Elon has my social security and all my bank information, blah, blah, blah. Listen, there are hundreds. That's not an exaggeration. Hundreds of people in the IRS that already have that. Okay? The idea that your information is private, as much as like, hey, let's get this VPN so all your information can be private. I'm just telling you right now, it's a farce. I'm not saying you shouldn't have VPN. I'm not saying you shouldn't protect your privacy, but I'm telling you right now, the FBI knows pretty much everything there is to know about you. It's just the truth. So the only way that could really change, okay, you want to know the honest truth about it, you would have to fake your own death, get a completely other set of ID, go completely off the grid, no phone, no TV, no car with AI. It's pretty much impossible at this point. You better just learn to stand up and do what's right and know that if the axe comes for you or if the moment comes for you, they're going to haul you off to jail. It's going to come Okay, you get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be a killjoy. I'm just saying that's the truth. And I'm committed to telling the truth. So, the first thing that RJ talks about, FEMA. Okay, real quick. FEMA is an organization, like many, like most, that started out good. Oh, I thought Isaiah said cool off. He said, come on. Don't encourage me, Isaiah. All right, okay. FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Association, Agency, whatever. FEMA. You get who they are. Started out good. We need a group of people that can help people when things go bad. Started out good. It has become corrupt to the core. I think it is one of those agencies that must... We're talking about oligarchs. We're talking about politicians. We're talking about corporations. We're talking about people who wield power, basically weaseling their way into, over decades, into these systems that start out good and corrupting them like a cancer to the core. They're rotten to the core. Okay? Example. One of the executive actions that President Trump recently made was to cut off all government support for illegal aliens. Now, whether you believe that's right or wrong, he still did it. Okay? I believe that's a good thing. Okay? You cannot stop, desperate times call for desperate measures. The craziness that has happened is not going to take some soft-handed 20-year plan to course correct it. It needs to be stopped. Like the border needs to be stopped, okay? Until we can get a handle on it. Somebody's bleeding in the street, you need to stop the bleeding, and then you deal with how the accident happened and so on and so on. You get what I'm saying? That's just wisdom, all right? So, after President Trump gave an executive order that said we're not going to support this, at least for now, we're going to cut everything off, FEMA released $59 billion. Pretty sure it was billion. Oh, no, maybe it was million. I think it was a million. Check it out. Let's say million. Let's make sure we're not exaggerating. $59 million of FEMA money, which is your money. You see, we talk about it being our money. Do you know that nobody in politics really believes that? They'll tell you that because it sounds good and it's a great talking point. They're spending your taxpayer dollars. And they are. That's the truth. But I will tell you this. Nobody in government really believes that's the truth anymore. They know that that money doesn't belong to it's not the taxpayers. The taxpayers had to pay it, yes. But it's not going to what taxpayers want. It's going to what those in charge want. Okay, now that's not true in every situation, but in most it is. So FEMA decides, in direct contradiction to the executive decision, the executive order, which is actually a law, it's a law, to go ahead and release, after the fact, $59 million. You want to know why? You want to know what they released it for? Are you ready for this? To house illegals in New York in the Ritz-Carlton. Now, the Ritz-Carlton is has become the iconic, famous hotel for opulence. It is at least arguably one of the most opulent. We're not talking about a Motel 6. We're not even talking about something that's, $300-400 a night. We're talking about opulence. Okay, so the government doesn't just put them up in a which reasonable people would do if they did decide it was okay to put someone who has broke the law to get into our country and to take care of them for a while and put them in a motel. If they did decide that was the right thing to do, if it were me and I said, wow, I have compassion on these guys and I really want to put them up for a while, I would find a motel that was a couple $100 a night. I certainly wouldn't go to the Ritz-Carlton. Thousands of dollars a night. And then they pay them over what the normal asking price for the regular citizen is. If you, and I know most of you are not this person that I'm about to say, but if you think that's okay, you have lost your ever-loving mind. I mean, common sense and natural wisdom. I mean, I won't use the word retarded because that's become an offensive thing for people who used to be called that, but it is the most ridiculous. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable, and we just keep finding out more. Now listen to me, saint of God, Christian, non-believer, whoever you are, okay? We let this happen. As long as we have our money coming in, as long as we get to live in suburbia and our bills are paid, it's all about the economy, stupid. No, it isn't. I think it was Bill Clinton that said that. It's all about the economy, stupid. No, stupid, it's not about the economy. It's about what's doing right. If you do what's wrong in order to bless the economy and make sure everybody has enough money in their coffers, you are going to reap corruption. We have to come back to common sense, right and wrong. Thank you very much, you guys. All right, talk it up. I'm almost done. Give me about 1 more or 2 more minutes. So there's 3 of these. FEMA, the thing with FEMA, a lot of them got fired. As soon as Donald Trump found out, President Trump, that they had done this, he fired a whole bunch of them. Thank you, Donald Trump, for doing the right thing. Okay? People who do wrong and get away with it will continue to do wrong. Duh. Okay. So I've got 3 of these that are RJ Talks. I did 3 in a row so you could look and kind of get a taste for RJ. I think he's pretty good. There's a lot of guys out there, but he's just one of them. Number 4 is Joe Rogan talking about this same absurd level of corruption. Now, let me just say it this way. The only people that don't want corruption to stop, there's 3 kinds of people. Let me tell you real quick. Okay? I'm going to give you a little golden nugget. The only people that don't want corruption to stop are, number 1, people who are corrupt themselves. They're part of the corruption or they're corrupt themselves. Number 2, people who have a financial benefit. They may not be directly involved in corruption, but in some way, they're financially benefited from it, either directly or indirectly. Or number 3, they're just plain ignorant. And they see the corruption as something that's not really corruption. How can this be? We didn't know about it. I trust my government, that kind of a thing. You get what I'm saying? Okay. And he talks a little bit about that. So there's one here, Nancy Mace. I really love this one. I'm done here. I'm at the end. Representative Nancy Mace, again, a firebrand. A lot of people don't like her. I love anybody that's a truth teller and is not afraid of throwing it out there, even if they get slammed for it. And she's one of them. She has a group of people, again, it's another Congress, group of people, and she's asking questions to governors, and she asks a basic question to each one of them. She says, does this, now she'll list one of the things that USAID has supported, like sending condoms to, I think it was Afghanistan. I don't know. I'm going to say, first of all, a good number of the USAID foolish, wicked, evil funding, your money, literally you and I have helped fund immorality. Most of them have to do with the woke agenda and human, immorality. I don't want to say the S word, they'll throw me off again. Gaza, thank you. Most of these have to do with either woke. Does it bother you that your money that you earned has helped promote global sexual immorality? Oh, I said it. You get what I'm saying? No, it's real. That ought to infuriate you. I'm infuriated about the fact that my money has helped to promote globally wicked immorality. Okay? It's happened, and it's happened on our watch, and you better not be okay with it. So she asked the question, does sending condoms to whatever country this was advance America's interest? And there's 3 of them she's talking to, and 2 of them say no. Governor, does this money we're sending advance America's interest? No. Second governor, does this advance America's interest? No. Third guy, everyone. And this is the mealy mouth, wishy-washy, no conviction, ignorant people that we have in that house. Third one, she asked, does this advance our interests? I have no position on the matter. And she's like, of course you don't. So that's all. You want to watch that one. So I'm going to go to the very, this one I don't have a lot of time to talk about, but this is very important about the robots. So as much as I appreciate what Elon is doing right now, he's got some ideas about what needs to happen in the world that I think are extremely dangerous. I believe this is one of them. I'm mostly this is not the moment I want to come out on a position of this. I've kind of already done that, but I just want you to be informed. You should watch this video. Even if technology is not your thing, I don't care about robots, blah, 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 whatever. You are going to live probably to see this, unless the Lord Jesus returns in the next couple of years. Elon is saying in pretty much every prediction he's made about space, whatever, and robotics and technology and electrical stuff, they usually come to pass pretty close to what he says, okay? The man is not an idiot. He's a genius, okay? You can use his genius for right or wrong, but he's nevertheless, okay? He's way smarter than most of us put together. He's saying within just a couple years, they're actually saying in this year, 2025, they will have 10,000 fully operational automated robots. You'll see it in the video. In his plant, I believe it's his plant right here in Texas. 10,000, that's a lot of robots. First of all, manufacturing all those takes tons of money, okay? Tons of manpower and a will to do it, and he's doing it. They're in production right now. Okay, this is not a joke. This is not the Terminator. This is not some sci-fi movie. You're living in these days, and it's important that you understand that, okay? Just so that you can be mentally prepared, because we're coming to a global shift in ways that you cannot currently fathom. I promise you that's true. Now he says 10,000 operational working in his factories, which will eliminate most of his employees, okay? And in the span of 2, maybe 3 years, it's not unreasonable to think that he's saying he will be manufacturing, mass producing, listen to me now, try to wrap your brain around this number, 100 million fully functional, capable of doing just about anything, living in your home, just like the movie I, Robot. Remember Will Smith, I, Robot? Within 2-3 years, 100 million of them. And then, oh, wait a minute. Let me course correct. 100 million a year. His plan is that there will be enough within just like a 3-year period of time. We got 300 and some million people in this country. Everybody in this country could have one. And the price will be low enough. You know what happens when you mass produce enough stuff? Price goes way down. And that's his gig. He wants everyone to afford. He has a goal that this happens. Now, I'd love to talk about that more. I'm out of time. I can't. Maybe we'll do a program specifically on that. Don't ignore what's happening technologically, because it will for 99.9999 to infinity% of you affect your life directly. And you need to know whether you're going to say yes to it or no to it or whatever, okay? It's not coming, it's here, okay? All right, so as a bonus thing, I'm closing my laptop. As a bonus video, there's a 17-second video at the end that is Maxine Waters. Some of you know who she is. She makes a statement, 17 seconds long. You should watch it. This is just a funny bonus. And this is actually her saying this. She's in front of a group of people. They're so desperate right now of getting caught with the wickedness they've done in the last few, however many years. She's saying, we don't know. This is the phrase. Watch it, but this is the phrase that I want you not to miss. She says, we don't know what they have on us. She's afraid of them being able to access her information and people like her, because she says, quote unquote, we don't know yet what they have on us. So you're afraid they have something on you. Well, you should be. All right. Hope this encourages you. It's not meant to bummer. It is meant to inform you so that you can live responsibly in the day and the age that God has put you in, with truth, with joy, loving your neighbor enough to be able to help them find Jesus. If all you think about is politics and what's happening in the world, you're missing it. You need to be thinking about what God's doing, that you can be his agency to help people not just know truth about social issues, but truth about eternal life. That is your primary goal, not your secondary goal. All right? Hey, love you guys. God bless you. Please take time again to subscribe and to hit the bell and share. Yeah, if you haven't already, please do it. When you share it with somebody else, it'll be a blessing. So Love you all. Thanks for praying for us. Thanks for supporting us financially. Believe it or not, any little amount that you help us with is a huge help. We depend upon that. This is our primary source of ministry income right now. So you make a difference. So, amen. We love you. God bless you. And as always, give yourself permission to have a great day. Bye-bye.